Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, this video is for genomic investors. And today I'm going to give you a snapshot of how I think about genomics personally as a retail investor. I'm not saying that you have to think the same way. I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. And I want your feedback as well because a lot of different points of view can converge to give us some kind of an idea of how to handle genomics, because it's definitely an opportunity. It's going to revolutionize the field of medicine, that is for sure. Genomics are the building blocks, there is no getting around it. The question is, when is it going to take off? Is it going to be a gradual takeoff and you have to stay invested continuously for a long period of time, or is it something that's going to suddenly zoom up in value and you make tons of money? So I have drawn some comparisons with things that have happened in the past. I consider genomics to be a kind of a revolution, industrial revolution in medicine, and I have compared it with other revolutions from before, namely the internet revolution or the dot-com revolution that came up and which most of us are aware of. So with that said, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. I think genomic stocks are at the forefront of revolution in biotechnology. There is no denying it. And it's driven by groundbreaking achievements in gene editing, synthetic biology, and personalized medicine. And I would say that just as the dot-com era saw the rapid rise of internet-based companies with lofty promises, many people put a lot of money, many small companies became big companies in terms of market cap. Today's genomic sector is filled with companies pushing the boundaries of science. Something similar. However, as with the dot-com bubble, not all of these companies are going to succeed. That's the ground reality, in my opinion. I would like to have your comments on this. And while there is enormous potential, the reality is that only a few will deliver on their promises, while many will end up being cash burners and destroyers of investors' capital. That is my personal opinion. There will be companies that will go bust, and they would have just burnt up the capital. And we have seen that in the dot-com. For example, in the late 1990s, during the dot-com boom, the market was flooded with companies eager to capitalize on the internet revolution. Promises of exponential growth and also of disruption led to massive investments, driving valuations to unsustainable heights, very unsustainable heights. Companies like pets.com, webvan, and eToys burned through millions of dollars only to eventually fail. And that left the investors with significant losses. Talk to any long-term investor and they would definitely have had a significant loss during the dot-com era, because a lot of wealth was wiped out. However, a few key players such as Amazon, Google, and eBay emerged from the chaos to dominate their sectors and deliver tremendous value for long-term investors. The question is, are we going to be able to identify the Googles and Amazons and Microsofts of the future in the genomics field? I certainly think that CRISPR Therapeutics would qualify as one of those, and maybe Editas, which is quite beleaguered, but maybe because of the patent, they might be able to be one of those. Time will only tell. The genomic revolution bears striking similarities with the dot-com. Today, companies like CRISPR Therapeutics, Beam Therapeutics, and Illumina are at the cutting edge of genetic research with promising technologies that could reshape how we treat diseases like cancer, genetic disorders, and other complex conditions. Most recently, most encouragingly, CRISPR Therapeutics, for example, has succeeded with developing gene editing therapy, Casgevy, to cure sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia once and done. And Beam Therapeutics is also developing precision gene editing techniques that promise even higher levels of accuracy. And of course, on the other hand, we have Illumina, a leader in DNA sequencing, which remains vital for enabling the entire genomics ecosystem through its sequencing technology. Like, they are the ones who make the shovels that will be used to build the genomic future. So that's the way it looks to me. However, beyond these potential winners, There are many small, less proven companies with ambitious claims that may never reach commercialization or profitability. I'm not saying that Ginkgo Bioworks is one of them, but Ginkgo Bioworks kind of gives us the vibes, because there was a lot of promises from Ginkgo Bioworks. They will do this and they'll do that, and nothing much has come out of it, unfortunately, and billions of dollars have been burnt in the process. Whether they will continue to succeed, it's a matter of time. Only time will tell. The reverse split has made the stock look good again because it's above the dollar. It's around $8 something. But the reverse split kind of enables Ginkgo Bioworks to lose more values, because post split, 1:10 split, a reverse split, it had become almost close to $9 or something like that. And now it is slowly coming down to 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and before you know, it could be at 1. It's a possibility that cannot be ruled out, but maybe they may even succeed. Who knows? Such are the characteristics of those small, numerous companies which have a lot of hype. They may or may not deliver. And the long timelines, expensive R&D, and high failure rates associated with biotech make this sector particularly risky. And we all know that, but there is the lure of huge profits, and becoming millionaires with investments, and spotting the right company at the lowest price and getting the highest bang for the buck 2 years down the line. Those are the dreams, but how many of them will realize it? I don't know. Companies that cannot sustain their cash burn rates, fail to generate meaningful clinical results, or face regulatory hurdles could disappear. And much like the dot-com companies that went bust, there could be a whole lot of companies in the genomic watch list that could go bust. And some of them will end up becoming big pharma of the future. I'm calling them big pharma because I don't have an alternative name for big genomic companies. But that's one probability that could happen. Just as Amazon and Google came to dominate e-commerce and the search domain after the dot-com crash, the genomic space will likely be dominated by a few companies with the best technology management and clinical successes. I'll just give you a parallel out here. You all have heard of a company called Shopify. So what Shopify does is it allows you a platform so that you can put up an online shop instantly without having to worry too much. It's got everything, the shopping cart, the payment, everything is there. And they also have tie-ups so that you can do drop shipping and other things. And they've got a lot of apps in there so that you can manage your shipping, your returns, and everything. Despite that, very few companies, very few entrepreneurs who put up a Shopify shop are assured of success. Everybody starts out with the same hope and promises. There are some that become really big successes, and then there are many that are moderate successes, hobbling around. And then there are quite a few who just try to stay alive for a year or so and then decide to shut shop because they are not able to generate enough business and there is not enough margin in it. So something like that is going to happen in the entire genomic sector. And investors need to be cautious, recognizing that while the sector holds great promise, the road to success will be paved with failures. In the midst of the genomic revolution, there's another growing force that investors need to be aware of. And it has come to my attention. I think it came to my attention almost a couple of years ago. These are the legal battles. Just as genomic companies push the boundaries of science, law firms are constantly circling the industry, ready to pounce on the first sign of weakness. The high stakes nature of biotechnology, where intellectual property trial results and patient outcomes are key, it has drawn legal scrutiny, with lawsuits becoming a frequent occurrence. This adds another layer of risk for investors, as even promising companies can find themselves bogged down by litigation, burning precious resources in court rather than advancing their research. Take, for instance, Verve Therapeutics, a promising player in the gene editing field. Verve is developing therapies aimed at tackling cardiovascular diseases using cutting-edge base editing technology. While their potential to transform medicine is enormous, the company found itself embroiled in legal trouble. In 2023, Verve was hit with a lawsuit over patent infringement, with another company claiming Verve's gene editing approach violated its intellectual property. This kind of litigation can derail a company's focus, drain its cash reserves, and cast doubts on its future, no matter how promising its science may be. And also, there are a lot of law companies or law firms which constantly give notice to investors of various genomic companies, saying that they have a class action suit lined up and you would benefit if you join the class action lawsuit. So those things are also happening. Bluebird has faced many of them, and there are other companies also which are facing. And then there are short sellers who try to make money out of genomic companies by, for example, there was a short seller for Ginkgo Bioworks at one point of time, and there was a lot of negative information published about Ginkgo. So I think Verve is not an isolated case. The nature of genomic innovation often leads to legal disputes over patent rights, research methodologies, and clinical trial outcomes. These lawsuits are not only costly but also lead to reputational damage, delays in clinical trials, and even halting the development of therapies. Companies like Editas Medicine and Intellia Therapeutics have also faced legal challenges, primarily around intellectual property disputes with rivals or partnerships gone awry. And for investors, this presents a serious challenge. Even if a company like Verve or Editas has groundbreaking technology, the threat of legal action can make or break its future. Much like during the dot-com era when lawsuits and regulatory crackdowns hurt many fledgling tech firms, today's genomic stocks face legal minefields. Law firms, recognizing the high potential payouts involved, are scavenging the sector, looking for weaknesses to exploit, which could turn once promising companies into cautionary tales. So while the genomic sector holds immense potential, it's crucial to remember that many of these companies operate in a high-risk environment. Litigation risk on top of already significant scientific and financial challenges adds another hurdle that only the strongest and best prepared firms can overcome. Investors need to weigh not only the potential of the technology, but also the company's ability to navigate these legal and regulatory battles. Like in the dot-com era, only a few will race to dominate, while others could be consumed by the legal complexities that are part and parcel of the high-stakes innovation game. So friends, this is the way I look at genomics sector, and this is what guides my investment in genomics. And I do not put a huge portion of my portfolio into genomics. That is a fact, and I have not hidden it from any of you. At any point of time, I may have one or two genomic companies in my portfolio, and I generally tend to invest for a short period of time to take some profits. I did that with CRISPR when I thought that I could probably make a few dollars if I held on for a swing trade. So I made some money on CRISPR, made some money on Ginkgo, and I have lost money also. Right now I have a loss-making position in autoimmune. So there are companies where I have made mistakes and I have lost money. But at any point of time, the bulk of my portfolio is either on dividend earning stocks or on technology stocks which are paying dividends, plus which have a high growth opportunity. So that's what I have been doing. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in genomics. It's just that I'm being realistic about genomics. There are going to be a few companies that will do very well. CRISPR and Illumina seem to me to be very clear targets that might probably end up coming out strong. But again, you have these legal aspects and other things that are there in the environment. Regulatory aspects also could come in, which could create a problem for them from achieving their full potential. There is a lot of potential in genomics. It's going to revolutionize medicine. Right now, we treat symptoms and operate people to replace organs, transplants, and that's how we are prolonging the life. At one point of time, the average human life was around 35 years, and then it came up to 45. Even now, in some third world countries, life expectancy is around 65 to 60 years, in that range. But in advanced economies where all the medicines and everything is available, people live to be 100, 95. That is not uncommon, and we'll continue to keep on increasing the lifespan of humans as we start understanding our body. And what better way to understand the body than through genomics, because the genes and the DNA have the entire blueprint for our body, not only to replicate itself, but also to grow and perform work and give us all the things that we have, which we call as life. Therefore, so we already have the blueprint of life in genes, and genomics is going to help us deploy our understanding of the blueprint of life to cure a lot of diseases, and to get rid of all the bad mutations in the human genome, so that future humans will have a perfect genome to a good extent. And those that are born with defective genes could also find correction for their lifetime through functional cures using genomics. And overall, that is the promise, which will be a much higher standard of living or quality of life than what we are enjoying right now, even with all the cutting edge medicine that we have, which are based on small and large molecules and surgery, transplantation, and those kind of approaches. Whereas genomics is going to be the root cause, which is going to be addressed, and things would get better for everyone. So that's the promise of genomics. Currently uncurable disease will also get cured in future thanks to genomics. And there are two companies, in my opinion, in the forefront: Illumina, with regarding to gene sequencing and providing the tools for understanding genetic mutations and defects so that they can be corrected, and CRISPR Therapeutics, which is the company which has already delivered a gene therapy for say a one-time cure for sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia, and is in the track for more CAR-T therapies, which are going to be allogenic, which means off the shelf, and that could cure cancers. So I think CRISPR is the other candidate that I see, which has got a lot of things going in its favor. Of course, Caribou Biosciences is there, and Editas is there. So these are some of the companies that I think of, and Beam, of course, with its prime and prime editing and base editing approach. These are all companies which are rich with IP or with potential and ability to become a big company, and which would be like you see the boys in the sea or the ocean. They keep on bouncing up regardless of any effort to push them down. These companies are going to have that inherent ability to float above because of their intellectual property right or gene therapy achievements. Apart from these, there are many other companies which may probably just wither and die. I'm closely watching Bluebird Bio, and I can see it struggle. 3 gene therapies already in the market, creating revenue, but the company is struggling because you need to have good management. You need to file the annual returns on time. You have to do the quarterly returns on time, and you have to keep everything ship shape. Apart from doing your gene editing and other things, so having good personnel in place, having good financial controls, good governance is also going to be very important, even if a company was to succeed in creating a therapy. So good governance is another thing that we have to look for in most of the genomic companies, because that is indicative of the possibility of that company succeeding if they were able to meet the FDA requirements and get monetization in place. So that's the other aspect that I wanted to highlight, the way I think about these genomic companies. And finally, one more thought for you guys is that while genomic companies have shown miracle cures like one-time cure for sickle cell disease, and believe me, when the patients of sickle cell disease look at such high price targets and still go for the therapy, it's because they see the relief that they get, because the suffering they have right now with the current standard of care is terrible. It's unbearable. So they are willing to do that. But not every sickle cell disease patient is able to afford or qualify to be insured to get these treatments. So the question then becomes, what about pricing? And what about giving the therapy to less privileged individual? Every life is equally important. So if you have a cure, why not give it to others? Then with that comes the tension between entrepreneurship, profit motivation, and innovation. All of them go in tandem with altruism, charity, and taking care of other humans. Because if you remove the profitability, like all of us are investors, so why do we invest? We invest because we are looking at a big payday someday. So if we invest and if we create a fantastic therapy that's going to cure a very difficult disease, and then if the powers that be were to tell us, shame us to just give it for free, then will there be another innovation after that? No. because most of the investors will say it's not worthwhile being in this field because we'll pour in a lot of money and create a therapy and we'll have to literally give it for free. There is no margins available. So innovation will go away. So those kind of things will not happen, but there will always be a tension to keep the prices low. For example, the current Biden administration has forced the insulin prices to be at $35 or something like that. Of course, insulin has been around for a long time. The patent has already recovered all its profits and everything. So this is okay. But the same thing could happen for other diseases as well. And that could be a difficult situation for investors. And if investors don't put money into a sector, the sector withers and dies. And if it was to be taken over by the government, then the innovation aspect will be dulled down very much. So we have to keep that aspect in mind. It's going to be very interesting because I'll be talking to a very important person in this field who is put his focus on the high cost of gene therapy and to bring it down. So I have an interview slated with this doctor who is doing great work. And I would have that out on both our main genomics channel as well as in the HIV channel as well. And I won't give you his name right now because the interview is yet to be recorded, but talks are at a high level right now and it's imminent, probably around mid-October. And what this good doctor has done is he has found a way to reduce the cost of manufacturing these high-cost gene therapies, and he has got a different approach. And I would be talking to him about that approach, and I'll bring that across to you in this channel. So watch out for that at a later date. And friends, you have not seen too many of gene therapy and CRISPR and other videos on our channel lately because there hasn't been much to talk about. But please be assured, in the background, I'm working on getting academics into the channel to talk about what is happening in the field as well. And I'm keeping my eye out on all our genomic companies in our watch list in case something happens. And if you find something has happened and I've not made a video of it, just send me a text message or just send me a message in any of my videos, and I'll be back to you with a video on that particular topic. And we'll keep it all out here. This is the Genomics Hub on the internet. We are the only channel that does serious work on genomic investment. So stay tuned, and thanks for all your support so far. This video was something heartfelt, unscripted. It's coming from my heart, so it may not follow a very logical sequence, but I've just brought everything out, a snapshot of my mind of what I think about gene therapies and genomic investment at this point of time. With that, my friends, I'd like to bring this video to an end, but I'd also like to request from you, what is it that you want to see in our channel with regard to genomics? Please let me know, and probably your ideas will help me to come up with programming that you would love to watch in the absence of actual gene investment, genomic investment news. One of the things I don't want to become is like those commercial websites and commercial channels where they put a sensational heading and probably give old news back again because they need the clicks. So I feel loath doing those kind of things because it's not natural for me to do that. So I try to avoid recycling old news and making it look like new just in order to keep you interested. But if you guys have got some ideas of what I could do in this channel to fill up those gaps where there is no news happening in genomics, I'd be truly delighted to do that for you. With that, my friends, I'll catch up with you again in the next video. Bye.